This is our replica of the Ark of the Covenant that my father, Philip Missick, made that we have here at King of Saints Tabernacle here in Cleveland, Texas. And right now, it is the time of the feast days. We're in the Festival of Tabernacles, or Sukkot, the Festival of Booths, where the Jewish people remember when they dwelt in the wilderness in booths. And of course, the tabernacle was the mobile sanctuary, which was the house or the shrine of the Ark of the Covenant, which represented the throne of God. And of course, we have here the mercy seat where the blood of the offering, the sacrifice, was made to atone for the sins of the people. Scholars believe that when the temple was in Jerusalem, that there was a ritual that was performed during Sukkot. And this was the enthronement of the Ark of the Covenant inside the Holy of Holies. The Ark was taken and paraded through the streets of Jerusalem. The Ark was then taken and put inside the Holy of Holies in the temple to symbolize that Yahweh, Yahuwah, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, is the true King of Israel. And there are certain psalms that scholars believe were recited during this ceremony, which is Psalm 47 and Psalm 93 through 99. And these psalms are called the Enthronement Psalms because they were sang while the Ark of the Covenant was paraded through the streets of Jerusalem on this special ceremony in which the Ark was placed back in the Holy of Holies, showing that God is enthroned as King of the people of Israel. Now, it's very interesting. In Ethiopia, they do it at a different time of year. They do it during Epiphany. And they have this ceremony called Sukkot. As people know, that the Ark of the Covenant is a very important part of the religion of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. And that church has a lot of deep Jewish roots, and they keep a lot of ancient Jewish festivals. A lot of Ethiopian Christians see themselves as descendants of King David and King Solomon. You have the legend of the Queen of Sheba and Menelik. So you have replicas of the Ark of the Covenant, which are kept in many sanctuaries of the Ethiopian Christians and in Eritrea. And there's a place called Aksum where they claim, and this is disputed, to have the actual Ark of the Covenant. They do have a replica, at the very least, they have a replica of the Ark of the Covenant. But they use the tablets of the law, they call them the Tabot, as a symbol of the Ark of the Covenant. And during Timkat, during the Timkat festival, they take the Arks of the Covenant and they parade them through the streets. And perhaps this is based on an ancient historical memory of this feast, but is celebrated, scholars believe, during Sukkot, where they would parade the Ark of the Covenant through the streets, and they would install it in the Holy of Holies, like I said, enthroning or symbolizing the enthronement of Jehovah God as the king, the ultimate king, the highest authority, the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, in his palace, his temple in Jerusalem. So it's very significant, I think, what that meant. And I've mentioned before, this is a theory that scholars have about these psalms, that these are psalms of an enthronement that speak about Yahweh being installed as King of Israel, as Yahweh being enthroned upon the cherubim. There are other psalms that use that terminology and that phraseology. But Moses himself, they would take the Ark of the Covenant when they dismantled the campsite. As they were marching through the wilderness, they would take the Ark of the Covenant, and Moses said that whenever you take the Ark out to parade it, to lead the people through the wilderness, they were supposed to chant, "Arise, O God, O Yahweh, and let your enemies be scattered." They also had to recite certain psalms or a statement when they placed the Ark back in the Holy of Holies, when they re-erected the tabernacle. So the precedent for the use of the enthronement psalms actually goes back to when the Ark was in the wilderness and when it was paraded as they marched to the Holy Land. So they did have these liturgical statements they had to make when they took the Ark out and then returned it. But there's other times when the Ark was taken and paraded. Of course, they got around the walls of Jericho. You have when David took the Ark to Jerusalem and erected the tabernacle of David. You also have when Solomon brought the ark to the temple, when the temple was completed, and there's also a reference of Josiah having the ark taken and placed back in the Holy of Holies in the temple. So it's interesting, the implication that the ark was taken out and paraded through the streets of Jerusalem, the ceremony to show that Yahweh is the ultimate King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and the great King of the Jewish people. So scholars speculate what the Ark of the Covenant looked like, but most scholars do believe that the cherubim were winged sphinxes, like you see how my father depicts them here in his replica of the Ark of the Covenant. So check out the Enthronement Psalms. I'm going to give a more detailed and in-depth teaching about the parading of the Ark of the Covenant through the streets of Jerusalem during the Sukkot, an annual ceremony, which is seen in the Enthronement Psalms. Mainly, there's many Psalms of enthronement, but mainly Psalm 93 to 99.